name is Sofia and welcome to the first episode of Future Talk. And today I have guests with me and I'm joined by my co-host
Nullify.
So today we'll be talking about the gender-based violence. So we've been seeing on social media, we've been seeing on newspapers and TV that we're seeing women being raped, women being killed, and also children being killed. And we hear, unfortunately, we don't have guys around, and it would have been so great if we had guys to talk about those things, because mostly the guys are the ones who are causing all these things to happen. And today I'm joined by beautiful ladies and they will introduce themselves. I'll start with her.
Hello, my name is Rose.
Hi, my name is Siphesihle.
Hi, I'm Chipo.
My name is Tatenda.
Hello, my name is Nelisa.
So guys, I wanted to ask, so what do you think is the cause of this problem, and how are you as ladies facing those challenges? Yeah. Anyone to start? You can start.
Okay, I think it's an issue that's really deep rooted. It's not just something we can say this is the cause, this is the cause.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts with the way we raise our children and what we're exposing them to, and the kind of culture that we've generally been accepting in society. Even like when boys are allowed to make derogatory comments about girls and they let it slide, it's okay because it's what men do. And not to excuse those women that also have on the spectrum of gender-based violence, but like you said, it's mostly men, and it's a thought pattern, it's a process. So in order to deal with it, you need to start with the young children, because these grown men, they don't see nothing wrong with it when you're walking down the street and they just catcall you like it's nothing, you know, or when a man wants to assert his authority over a woman and he rapes her and beats her until at some point some women die. So I think it's a matter of the way the men are raised and the way they think, and the way society has kind of, especially amongst the men, they've kind of protected, say, oh, this is what men do, so deal with it, you know. It's just from that perspective.
Yeah, and to add on that, when you talk about that, we can't just say that this is the cause. So when we were growing up, men were always told that you have power over women, you can control women. But you want to do this to a woman and she doesn't want to, and then either you can beat her to doing it, or either you can force her. So I feel like now, not to necessarily say that it's too late to try and reduce this thing, but I feel like it has escalated, to a point whereby it's not easy to tell a child that's growing up, this is how you should behave, because lead by example. So they see their elders doing this and this, and then they think it's okay. So even if we try and talk to the young ones that are still growing up, but I feel like the old ones, they have a more impact on what's going on. If that makes sense.
I'd also like to add what you say. I feel like women have always been raped. And the problem is, back in the days, families would literally protect the uncle that's raping young kids. And women have not always had a voice, They'll make you feel as though it's your fault that you're raped. They'll tell you to not talk about it because he's providing for the family, So it's something that has always been happening. It's just that now women have the voice, women are talking about it, there are campaigns, people are free, they can, you know what I mean?
I agree with what she's saying, I believe it's because of tradition, and long back people were raised like, okay, men are always higher than women. If a man says we should do this, you need to do it because he said it. So it's all about how we are raised and like the tradition in our cultures and our families and stuff, the tradition that we follow. It's just men are higher than women, and we are raised to believe that.
Don't you think this whole thing starts from patriarchy?
Definitely.
That, you know, women must always bow down to men. Women must always, like, the man is the head, and if he does this, and that thing goes. And also it goes because I'm Ndebele, and normally what my culture says is long time ago is a woman has to be beaten up once a month so that the man can show who the father is, who's the man of the house. So that the woman, the wife, can respect more. And that thing of causing fear on a woman to, you know, to gain that, they saw it as respect. But you know, there's a difference between fear and respect in a way. So I feel like all these things start from patriarchy. And as African society, patriarchy is something that is really inside our society, and our parents were brought up from that, and sort of like it's still continuing. But how long do you think patriarchy is gonna last for long?
I honestly think so. I don't have hope. It starts from our, you know, police system. People don't have hope in it. We don't really, you know, you can't even go to a police station and report your case because they'll tell you stuff like, why don't you forgive him? You know, he's providing for his family. What if it was a mistake? Are you sure it happened? You know, you don't even know where to turn to. You know, it even goes back to the hashtag all men are trash. I feel like men are not getting the message. Our problem is they're still not getting the message. You know what I mean? And we are still very unsafe, and they're still very defensive. They're not taking accountability of the stuff that we are saying. So that's basically where our problem is. They are not getting the message, and we're not going to get anywhere till they get the message.
I also just want to add on to say that if we look around here, it's just ladies, and we are talking about it, we are speaking out, but where are the men in the conversation? Because we need them to join in the conversation, because they need to talk to one another and say, my fellow brother, this is not okay, this is not right. Because in as much as we are empowered women or bold women, men tend to not take things from women as much as from their fellow peers. So as long as they sit on their hands and keep quiet and say, okay, you women talk, nothing will change, because they'll just sit and look at us like we're crazy, like, oh, look at all these feminists, they're all so angry, just beat them all into submission until they keep quiet. It's that type of thing that we need to also get the men on board to get the movement actually getting steam.
I was actually thinking this men conference thing, instead of it being something that's a joke, they should actually have a real men conference where they talk about real men issues and how men are supposed, but not only for them just to seclude themselves as men, because the people who are affected also are us women. As we can see, we are the ones abused. Our kids, our children are the ones being killed and beaten. As you saw the past news where the KZN hanged 4 of his kids, which was really sad. And it affects the mother. The mother, I saw the mother, she was really crying, she was really hurt. And like, it's all men that are doing this, and it really hurts us as women, because now you're talking about the safety, my own safety, and the safety of our kids.
I think also, I think one of our main problems is the way that guys or boys were brought up. The fact that they're not allowed to show their emotions. You know, they bottle up so many things from a very young age. And I mean, obviously, they're going to explode. I don't even know that's the right way to put it. But I mean, if you're going to bottle up everything, what's going to happen to you? You know, the way that they're brought up in a way that you're not supposed to cry, you're not supposed to show weakness. They just, do you get where I'm going with this? They're just always using violence because they're always so angry. You don't get to cry about stuff. If you don't cry when you're hurt, I mean, where are you going to go? You know what I mean? So that's basically where our problems are. They don't deal with their emotions and they make it seem as though it's something that's okay. Because it seems like they're still passing it down to their kids till this day, and it makes no sense. Why should a boy not cry? You know?
I think also a huge problem that we have is that the truth is, as women, I feel like we've reached the end of the line of what we can do now because we're not raping ourselves, you know. So there's only so much us as women can do without the men. And the truth of the matter is, men are very influential. Look at this as the conference thing. It was just a joke, but it trended as if it was such a real thing
For a long time.
for a long time to show if men want something. Do you guys know the movie Ingleba? About the Xhosa initiation ritual? Men were so against it because they thought it undermined their culture that they literally got it banned. That shows how powerful men are when they stand together to say we don't want this. They actually can, you know, influence and make a real change if they wanted to. So now the thing is, it's always us women, right here, it's us women. Where are the men? And without the men, it's really, it's so demoralizing to sit like this as women because we can empower ourselves and whatnot, but we go out into a patriarchal society. And as an empowered woman going into a patriarchal society, you're just calling to be beaten, to be raped, to be, you know, corrective rape as they call it, to show a woman her place or whatever nonsense that they do. So I really do feel like, honestly, we at a point where as women, there was a thing, a campaign last week called Without Us. We have to get to a point where it's like, you know what, see what you can do without us, because we've literally done everything. We've protected each other. We all know now, carry pepper spray, do this, do that, do the other, but it only gets worse and worse and worse. So at this point in time, I really feel like men need to jump onto the bandwagon, or else I don't know, guys.
I wanted to ask a question. Don't you think also us in a way, as women, no, I'm saying not as women at our age, but as women in all generations, if we look at our past generations and how women have been treating other women and how men are seeing this is the way you women treat each other, or if we look at mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship, it's always, no, my son is doing this and it's the right thing, you know. And we suppose as women also to know you support each other. If your son is doing a wrong thing to your daughter-in-law, you know, that also borders there. I feel like we also betray each other as women. Yeah.
I think the problem with that, Tina, is because especially the older women before us, they have been raised, you know, a man is this, men are just glorified in our households, to be honest. From when the boy is still a child, already, no, you're the man of the house. Where, when he's still a child, he's not man of the house, nothing, he's just a kid. Let him be a kid. He'll be a man of the house one day when he reaches, you know, that
He needs
stage.
to earn it.
He needs to earn it, and it's just a title that's given to the boy child. From there's this esteem that men have, and because of this esteem that men have, immediately women are then sub. You're always under. So if you are raised to be, you know, underneath the man, naturally, if I see the next woman, I'm not going to respect her as much as I'll respect the man. So yes, women are around and being gatekeepers of patriarchy, and I use this term, gatekeepers of patriarchy, because I feel like if women went there at the gate of patriarchy, always protecting these men, no, boys will be boys, no, my son this, no, my brother this, you know, if we went gatekeeping, obviously we wouldn't be as bad. But at the same time, I understand the fact that you grew up understanding and knowing that you're always just underneath the man, that immediately when I see another woman, there isn't that respect that women would automatically give men. So it becomes easier to, I don't know, sabotage the next woman than it is to sabotage a man. That's why when you catch a man cheating, instead of fighting your man, you'd rather go fight the other woman, whereas it doesn't make any sense. But if you look at it in that way, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
And yes, and that, sorry, that men have always been glorified. You see, when maybe, say you get raped, like, first response of a woman would be like, what were you wearing? What did you do?
Were you drunk?
Were you drunk? Were you dressed in an appropriate way? And some things like that. So I feel like it has been, and it still is, and it's still gonna get out of hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get onto that, I feel like
us young girls and looking at the previous generations as well, we were raised with fear inside our hearts. Like we were just raised with fear for men. As a young kid, you'd be told that even if your brother is younger than you, you should respect him because he's a man, he's a guy, and maybe he'd be allowed to go play while as you are being kept in the house. And they'll teach you how to cook and do household chores, and they'll say, no, he's a boy, he's a man, you're supposed to do everything. So I feel like that just gave the guys an ego, as she said, that they've got this ego in them that they don't wanna feel like they're beneath a woman. You understand? Like for instance, our mothers, right? They were raised that way. Our generation is different from our mothers. They were raised in a way that a girl should be under a boy, a girl should respect the guys, a girl should dress this way. So now, obviously, our mothers are going to pass that mentality onto us. And that what leads to us betraying each other is that if I see you dressed in a way that my mom said was wrong, if I see you behaving in a way that my mom said was wrong, obviously I'm not going to support you. I'm going to ask, what were you wearing when you got raped? Because from what I know, you are not supposed to be dressed that way. Of which this should just be, instead of teaching girls to cover up, we should be teaching boys to respect girls. Even if a girl walks around in a bikini, respect her. Don't touch her. If she says no, means no. It really means no. It doesn't mean that because I'm dressed like this, you should come and do as you please to.
I'd actually like to add on that. I've been noticing quite a lot that on social media, women have been taught how not to be raped instead of teaching men not to rape. You know, we're being told not to wear short stuff, how to use pepper spray. I mean, why? Men are supposed to be taught not to rape. That's it. You know what I mean? True.
I mean, if those men are saying we're being raped because of the way we wear, the way we dress. I mean, if you look at it, we are Africans. And have you seen how Africans long time ago used to wear? Our boobs were out there. Like if you look at
a child who's 3-year-old gets raped.
Exactly.
You can't justify it.
Exactly. You can't justify. Like you can't justify a 2-year-old. Like I was thinking a grown man on top of a 2-year-old. How painful is that, guys? Like seriously, how painful is that? And also, I wanted to bring up this point where I saw this guy was asking a question: Is marination of a woman rape? Like if you marinate a woman, make her drink and all that, and then after that you have sex with her, you indulge because apparently she was saying she wants it, she wants to have it. So so that is what the conversation was all about. So I wanted to hear from you. Is marination a rape?
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know what marination is, but it
Okay,
really sounds like bullshit.
Sorry. Let me explain what marination is. Let's say you go to a club. Okay, you can tell her.
Like when we go to a club, and there's like us and a couple of guys, and then they come, they buy us drinks. We didn't ask, mind you, for them to buy. They buy us drinks. They ask to take us home and everything. And then when you get home, he's like, because I bought you drinks, so it means like you knew what was gonna go on, and then just you like you wanted it. Like they always like this. For me to buy you drinks, like you knew what's after, what was gonna happen. I wasn't gonna buy you drinks for free.
No, you didn't use your words
You
to
didn't
say.
tell me.
So that's what she's
would you like
asking.
to have
Do you
said?
take it as rape or that's what you meant, right? Yeah.
Now it's like you're now turning me into some type of a prostitute. Because obviously a prostitute is the only person who'd go and do something because they want something in return or they want to be paid back. But you found me here, you asked me if you could buy me a drink. Obviously I said yes, but that doesn't mean that I want to have sex with you. It doesn't mean that you should feel entitled to my body because just because you bought me a drink, no.
I just feel like we live in a society where people like being rape apologists. We don't care no matter the situation. Imagine even calling it marinating, even giving it a term to justify rape. Like I just feel like that is honestly disgusting. It's nonsense.
Can I ask a question, guys? There's a post I saw on Facebook. I'm gonna just say it the way it was. Yeah. It said that it's a question based on us women. Because see, when are we gonna talk about this thing of say your friends? They say you guys are going to a club and then one of your friends has a guy Tizini, who's got money, who's got everything, and then like him short and then I got Sunday and she's like, no guys, this guy, my God was pussies of you guys know now when we talk with these guys, obviously was of so when do we discuss this? Because I feel like sometimes as women we sell out to our sisters because of our VIP tickets, because of our nice drinks, you know, when are we going to discuss that we are sometimes the sellouts? Because we do that every weekend, it happens. This Friday it's going to happen. And so God going to commit us. You see, Upe, you say us, and something Upe is going to buy us this and this and this. And then Upe is going to point to one of you that's okay, since I've bought you this and this, I want to. And we're going to be like, how about you? This is so cool. So
Exactly.
when are we going to discuss that? That we as women sometimes,
And
we sell out our sisters,
to
to
add on to that, sometimes you find women who actually sell other women inside. Who really go and the women go with men and they try to. And a woman is always involved in such issues when it comes to love. So when are we going to change as women and start backing each other up?
I also feel like instead of saying, oh, exactly, like
Isn't it this whole thing actually they're taking it as a blesser, you know? I'm blessing you, so you have to give me something back.
yeah.
And some women have fallen into that and gotten used to it. If we see our sisters how they're acting, like it's normal for like. Raining though. But at the end of the day, as women, you wanted the money, you wanted the food. So I think it's also should be in the conversation that sometimes us women, because of all that, and some women don't want to work for themselves.
And sometimes we do actually lead them on, and we become what they call a trophy wife. And usually what you see as a trophy wife on the outside, she's actually being beaten up behind closed doors. She's being abused. That old man that she got married to has a family elsewhere and she's always heartbroken. But when she goes out, she pretends to be someone she's not. She's a whole new person. She's a whole different person to other people outside. And we tend to envy that person's life without knowing what they're going through behind the closed doors.
And what I've seen is some women actually stay in marriages, even though they are being beaten.
You know why?
But they would
why?
stay for that money, yeah.
You know why? Because we were taught, our mothers were taught that a woman perseveres.
Yeah,
You just come with one slap and then you pick your thing like, hey, I'm going back home. No, then you're not a woman if you do that. If you're a woman, you persevere.
If you go back home, your mom will
And
be like, no,
you're
you
ashamed,
to
like
get
you've
married,
got shame.
go home.
I
We're
think
shame
it's
into
just
our home.
an African tradition that we've gotten so used to, and it's not right. Because if I go to my mom, I'm expecting my family to comfort me. Instead, they take me and they take me back to that monster. They tell me to work nothing out with him, but he's not going to change. The fact that you take me there and then you tell me to do my it doesn't change the monster. And also the fact that as black women we are raised that teaching that divorce is wrong. Only the person how it is. But then you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what I'm facing in the house, how I'm being beaten up to sleep every night, how I'm being raped. Even if we're married, sometimes I don't want it. but he feels like he's entitled to my body.
Doesn't that go with this saying? I don't know how to say it in English. Uthi, bazothina abantu.
Yes.
Bazothina abantu.
What
What
people
people
say.
say.
Yes.
I think one thing that we don't really talk about is the fact that poverty leads a lot of women into prostitution.
Yeah.
Where I'm going with this is I've noticed that a lot of places, they take advantage of the most vulnerable women, you know, and also the pressure that social media gives us. You know, when you're Instagram, you just want to fit in, and then you end up, you know, being in prostitution, or, you know, you end up signing up for these agencies that sell you a dream while instead they're selling you for guys. You know, it's just poverty. I feel like it's the root of most of our problems.
I just feel like also our history has so much violence in it that we've normalized violence so much that we fail to see violence in the little things. We wait for it to be something extreme as death, as rape, before we recognize that actually this is violence. You know, when little acts of violence, like even just calling someone with derogatory word, that in itself is violence. But because we're so used to violence, we think it's a norm, whereas you know it's not. And how about Rashaba? Even just think like poverty is very violent, guys. Poverty is a violent phenomena that we're so accustomed to. So we just find ourselves trapped in this circle of violence over and different types of violence. If it's not a violent marriage, it's violence at home, it's violence at work, violence everywhere, to the point where like now we're literally, the next step after violence is death. Whereas and we're there right now, then what comes after death? Like we're literally there at the climax. So we've just lived with violence and we normalized it for so long that we've reached the peak of it all. Whereas the situation we're finding ourselves in now, that we are literally dying.
And I think it's a thing of like, we need to start redefining our culture, redefining our values. It's like, we can't keep the status quo to say, okay, the man is there, he's on top, this is how our manners taught us, we must judge each other, judge one another. We see the problems, but we keep quiet because that's how it's been, and that's how it always be. We carry that to our children because they see the grandmothers doing it, they'll see us, their mothers doing it, and they say, this is the norm. And you know, they'll keep talking about it and say, this is not right, but it carries on. So I think it's that thing of, we need to start getting people to know that it's up to us to change that culture, to change that thinking, to change that mindset, you know, to say that no, this is not right. We need to change this about our society because culture changes. People are the culture. Culture is nothing without the people. So we as the people need to step up and say, this part of our culture we need to do away with. Because as Africans, it then looks like we have a disease, there's something wrong with us, because why do I feel free to walk in a nightclub in Europe and dance with the next man and I know that he's not going to touch me, because if I say no, he backs off? Why? Because then it makes us look, as now seems like it's just a black people problem, you know, of which it's so wrong, because then it now makes us seem like, you even see with the attitude that we have towards one another, the way we interact with one another, you see that even like, for example, if you can hear when people want to go to buy, for example, in the way we interact with one another, you hear saying, no, the things of the white people, if you deal with the white people, the things will be legit. You know, you deal with the Indians, I'm a bit sketchy, but it's still better than dealing with a black person. And that's the kind of culture we need to change, because it puts such a bad label on us, you know, in why do you need to steal from your black brother? It's that thing of that violence. Why do you need to steal from me to get somewhere in life? Why don't we collectively help each other, talk to our brothers and sisters, and build the culture? Say, if you start a business, I'm going to support you, you know, don't go to that Indian guy. I will support you, my whole family will support you, and we need to start building a thing that maybe in this area we can reduce the violence. We can say, why do you need to steal? Because you have the money, you're generating your own income. Why do you need to kill someone? Why do you need to do this? Because we're putting new systems in place where we take away the excuses that they have for doing the things they do, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we really need to redefine our culture and redefine the thinking, because it's not working for us anymore.
I think also through redefining our culture, things that are violent sayings in our cultures, things like wathinta umfazi, wathinta umbokodo. Like that is actually such a violent statement, and we don't realize it. We've normalized it so much that now every woman wants to be imbokodo. You know, you want to show, yeah, I can. This is so much pain that I can tolerate. I can persevere for so much. Whereas the truth of the situation is, we're not imbokodo, we're not rocks, we're people. You know, we break, we hurt. You can't expect to hit me and then everything's going to be fine because I see you imbokodo. So, and I remember I was having this conversation with friends of mine. These sayings, like another Muswaru Twara Tipa Kabuhalen. Hey, when if Utara Tipa Kabuhalen Kalimala, like it will cut you, There's nothing cute or glamorous about the fact that when you can hold the knife by the blade. Like that's not cute, guys. And people really need to understand it. It's not now you need to be put on a pedestal, because personally on my side, I'm not going to prove I'm a woman by holding a knife on the sharp end, because I'm not going to prove I'm a rock by allowing you to do nonsense to me, because I'm not. That's the thing, I'm not. And these are the kind of like you wanted to be, and then now it's like, wow, actually no. And these, so you're right, we are the culture is for the people. We need to change.
Now how do we go on about doing that, changing our culture, redefining our culture? How do we go on?
I think it starts with us women here. That's the part on our side that we can, on our part, the men have their part to play and we have our part. But I think it starts with us women understanding that we're so unique, I hear statements like, and I know some people will disagree with me, but I hear statements like, I'm a woman, I can do anything that a man can do. You're not supposed to be like a man. You are a beautiful, powerful woman. You're a woman for a reason. There's things that you can do that men can't do. It's not supposed to be a competition. It's supposed to say, I do what I do. You're not supposed to compete with the men. Let the men compete with each other. You as the woman, focus on doing what empowers you, what grows you. Focus on your empowerment, and we need to stop putting things like, I can do what a man can do, because what that does, and it's not an excuse, but what that does is on the men's side, it then triggers them, because they'll feel like, oh,
challenge me
she's
now.
trying to step into my lane, like she's trying to be a man. Oh, okay, you want to be a man, then do the man thing, and then they want to feel threatened that we're trying to be replaced, and I feel like there's that miscommunication. So we need to help the men to understand, and help our ladies to understand that you're powerful, you're strong, you can do whatever you want, you're so beautiful, but don't try and then go and compete with the man, because with competing with the man, you lose sight of what is in you that you can achieve. Michelle Obama and all those great women that we look up to, they're not there saying, nee. They just, you want to start a business, babes? Go start that business. You want to make your money? Go make your money. You know what I'm saying? Because then it allows people to then feel that, okay, I'm a person. It's not just about gender anymore. Because then in that attacking statement, we make it about gender. And that's how we have things like gender-based violence. And we should make it about people. It shouldn't be about you're a man, you're a woman. It should be about people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like...
So our closing remarks, sorry, we ran out of time. So our closing remarks, what would you ladies say, like in a few words?
I believe that this starts with us, our sisterhood. Let's stop labeling each other. Let's stop putting a label on each other, calling each other the B word. It will not make them better. It will make them see us as fools. Let's start being one. Let's start being unique. Let's start loving each other. That's all I can say.
I won't even lie, I feel like we still have a long way to go. I do not have hope. I just, I feel like we still have a really, really long way to go.
I believe that even though we also want our men to change, we should also change our ways. Don't leave your friend drunk in the club by herself. Don't let her walk by herself at 6 p.m. because it's dangerous anytime, Don't let her walk by herself, knowing very well that you can do something to help her get wherever she wants to go. Just make sure she's okay. Call her, like, hey babes, are you fine? Every time, just check up on them and just make sure that you're taking care of other girls around you there.
Honestly, if it were up to me, I was gonna take all the men and women the 1980s 90s, the 80s, 1780s, and then put them somewhere and then we start afresh as the youth. Because I feel like we have the idea of how we want our society to be, but because we are young and there's people in power, people who don't think like us, people who aren't affected by this thing like us, it's not gonna go anywhere, it's not gonna change fast. But since that's not gonna happen, just guys support each other, love each other, make sure we are safe, and yeah, just be sisters, man.
The closing remarks from me is that I just really would like for men to start joining the conversation now, because we can be a sisterhood as we want, we can empower each other as we want, we can literally do it all, but the fact that we still have to live in a very patriarchal society, I mean, it's not going to get us very, very far. So I just would really like men to join the conversation.
And my closing remarks, I'd just like to say that the new society that we want starts with us. In as much as we want a bigger, wider change, it starts small. It starts with you and I showing people how it should be, you know, and our brothers also helping us to show not only ourselves but all the generations how it should be, so that they can see that what the status quo is currently like, it's not right and things need to change.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you very much from all the ladies here who joined us in this group. Thank you so much. That's a wrap.
Bye.